The Mississippi River is at historically low levels, which could impact the food supply and our wallets.
The Mississippi River is drying up. Water levels in some areas near historic lows.
What if I told you that one of the most powerful rivers on Earth suddenly revealed secrets older than human civilization, not after centuries of exploration, but in just 3 days? This isn't a movie plot. This isn't fiction. This is what happened when the Mississippi River, a river so huge it literally shaped a nation, suddenly dropped nearly 47% in just 72 hours and exposed something scientists never expected to see with their own eyes. And what they found wasn't gold, wasn't lost cities. It was something far more important. A warning written 60,000 years ago. For over 300 years of recorded history, the Mississippi River has been seen as permanent, reliable, unstoppable, flowing across more than 300 miles, touching 10 states, supporting ecosystems, agriculture, transport, and drinking water for millions. This river moves over 590,000 cubic feet of water every second during normal conditions. To put that into perspective, that's enough water to fill dozens of Olympic swimming pools every single minute. People feared when it rose. Nobody imagined fearing when it fell. But nature always reminds us nothing is guaranteed. It started quietly. A dry season that lasted longer than usual. Rainfall that never arrived. Temperatures that stayed higher than expected. At first, nothing unusual. Weather changes all the time, but then the numbers started worrying experts. Water gauges began showing unusual drops. Shipping companies noticed barges sitting lower. Sandbars started appearing where water normally flowed deep and fast. Then it accelerated. Within just days, the river began pulling away from its own banks. Water lines dropped dramatically. Areas that were once completely submerged began drying in open air. People living nearby started noticing something strange. The river sounded different. Less movement, less current, less life. What had always looked powerful suddenly looked fragile. And then the bottom appeared. Massive sections of riverbed emerged like land returning from another world. Mud flats stretched for miles. Old tree stumps appeared. Forgotten debris from decades past resurfaced. But then came something nobody expected. The ground started breaking open. Long cracks formed across the exposed riverbed. Not small surface cracks, but deep geological fractures. Some stretching dozens, even hundreds of feet long. Some deep enough to see distinct layers of earth stacked like pages in a book. This was the moment curiosity replaced concern, because scientists realized they weren't only looking at a drought. They were looking at history. Geologists, climatologists, and environmental researchers quickly arrived. Teams began scanning the exposed areas with ground-penetrating radar. Drones mapped every visible crack. Soil experts began extracting samples layer by layer. What they found changed the story completely. The deeper sediment layers weren't recent. They weren't even ancient in the normal sense. They were prehistoric. Analysis showed some of these layers dated back nearly 60,000 years. Back to the late Ice Age, a time when massive glaciers covered large parts of North America, when giant animals like mammoths and giant ground sloths walked landscapes very different from today. The Mississippi River wasn't even the same river back then. In fact, it wasn't even in the same place. Scientists discovered sediment patterns showing the river had changed course multiple times across thousands of years, slowly carving new channels, abandoning old ones, constantly redesigning the land like a patient architect. What people think of as permanent geography is actually temporary. Rivers migrate, land shifts, nothing stays fixed forever, and this drought accidentally revealed proof. In the exposed layers, researchers found preserved organic material, ancient plant roots, pollen fragments, mineral traces, all perfectly preserved by water pressure and oxygen, free burial. It was like opening a sealed vault of environmental data. Each layer told a story: a wet era, A dry era, a flood cycle, a long drought, evidence that extreme climate swings aren't new. But the speed at which they happen today might be. Then came another discovery that added even more depth to the mystery. Some cracks weren't only from drying mud, they were structural fractures. Geologists connected these deeper fissures to ancient tectonic stress linked to the new Madrid Seismic Zone, one of the most powerful earthquake regions in North America. Many people don't realize this, but in 1811 and 1812, this region experienced earthquakes so strong the Mississippi River reportedly flowed backward temporarily. Imagine that level of power. Now imagine forces like that acting slowly underground for tens of thousands of years, building pressure, shaping the land invisibly. The drought didn't create these fractures, it revealed them, which means they were always there, hidden, waiting. This is what fascinated scientists most. Not that the river dropped, but what the drop allowed them to see. Because rivers don't only carry water, they hide history. Every flood deposits sediment. Every drought compresses soil. Every earthquake rearranges underground layers. Over thousands of years, rivers become archives of environmental memory. And this archive had just opened briefly. Researchers described it as finding a natural hard drive storing climate data across tens of thousands of years. But this discovery also raised a difficult question. If such a massive river can drop this quickly, how stable are our environmental systems really? Experts began analyzing climate patterns connected to the event. They pointed to longer drought cycles, shifting rainfall patterns, and increasing evaporation due to rising temperatures. Not one single cause, but a combination, a reminder that environmental systems fail gradually, then suddenly. And when they do, the consequences spread far beyond science. Because when the Mississippi River drops, America feels it. Shipping traffic slows or stops. Barges carrying grain, fuel, and raw materials struggle to move. Farmers face irrigation problems. Power plants face cooling water shortages. Fish breeding cycles get disrupted. This isn't theoretical. This is economic reality. A shallow river can slow supply chains across entire regions. And that's what made this event important beyond geology. It wasn't only about what was discovered. It was about what it meant. Scientists began describing the event as a stress test of the river system, showing how quickly conditions can change when multiple environmental pressures combine. But amid the concern, there was also awe, because nature had demonstrated something extraordinary. Even after 60,000 years underwater, the Earth preserved its story perfectly. No corruption, no loss, no missing chapters, just layers waiting to be rid. Researchers compared it to tree rings, but on a massive geological scale, each sediment band revealing temperature patterns, water chemistry, vegetation cycles, and atmospheric conditions from eras humans never witnessed. For a brief window, modern science touched deep time, and then, just as quickly, the window began closing. Rainfall upstream slowly increased. Tributaries began feeding water back into the system. Water levels began rising again, slowly at first, then steadily. Mudflats disappeared. Cracks filled. Ancient layers returned beneath flowing water. Within weeks, much of what had been exposed was hidden again, like a curtain closing after a short performance. But the knowledge remained. Scientists left with hundreds of soil samples, terabytes of drone imaging data, chemical readings, geological measurements, climate indicators, pieces of a puzzle that may help predict how rivers react to future stress. Data that may help protect millions of people, because this event wasn't only about the past, it was about the future. And perhaps the biggest lesson wasn't geological, it was psychological. Humans tend to believe large things are permanent: mountains, oceans, rivers. But this event challenged that assumption, showing that even the largest systems depend on delicate balances: temperature, rainfall, groundwater pressure. soil stability. Vegetation cycles change those variables, and even giants respond. The Mississippi didn't fail. It adapted, just like it always has. But this time, humans were watching closely enough to learn something. And maybe that's the real story. Not that the river revealed ancient secrets, but that it gave us a rare chance to understand how dynamic our planet really is. Because the biggest danger isn't change. It's believing change won't happen. The Mississippi River event showed something powerful. Nature doesn't hide things from us out of mystery. It hides them because we rarely have the right moment to see them. This drought created that moment, a brief alignment of conditions, allowing science to see what normally stays buried. And somewhere beneath that flowing water right now, there are still layers nobody has seen, older layers, deeper layers. Stories from climates even more extreme, waiting for the right moment, waiting for the next reveal, because Earth is still writing its story. Every storm adds a sentence, every drought adds a paragraph, every century adds a chapter, and sometimes when conditions are right. Oh, it lets us rid a few pages. So when people ask what the Mississippi River revealed during those 72 hours, the real answer isn't fissures. It isn't fossils. It isn't even ice age sediment. It revealed perspective. It showed that the past is never gone. It showed that stability is temporary. It showed that even the strongest natural systems depend on balance. And most importantly, it showed that discovery doesn't always come from exploration. Sometimes discovery comes from absence, from what disappears, from what pulls back, from what changes. Because sometimes when the water disappears, the truth doesn't sink, it rises. And maybe the most important question isn't what the Mississippi revealed then, but what it might reveal next. Because if 1,000 years of history can appear in 3 days, imagine what still waits below the surface, right now, silent, patient, unseen, ready to remind us that the Earth still has stories left to tell.